Among the most brutal and dangerous subtypes of vampire, the Regal. Beautiful, charming, their attention addicting, they often strike an odd familiarity in others. I've spoken on this phenomenon before, where followers have claimed photos look similar to dozens of different celebrities. This supernatural attractiveness is their most potent hunting tool. In late 19th century Europe, they were increasingly encroaching on human society like they never had before. Regals are obsessed with interacting with human society, rubbing shoulders with the highest classes and feeding off of the flock right under their noses. Popular media depictions of vampires, such as Interview with the Vampire, The Vampire Diaries, and some versions of Dracula, are remarkably in line with Regal vampire behavior. Like all vampire types, they can ascend to the psycho-supernatural status known as lordship. However, their paranormal beauty seems to fade in this state, as if their mystical essence shifts in priority. Regals make up the vast bulk of vampire encounters. The vampire recluse, another relatively common subtype of vampire. These more staunch and imposing eccentric figures flee public society, like physical ghosts haunting dilapidated mansions, ancient bloody ruins, even underground crypts, venturing into human civilization only when hunting their prey. They are both more detached from their initial humanity, yet less enthralled with what they've become. They feed far less frequently than their regal counterparts, often leading to them aging slightly or taking on a death-like appearance, though it's believed to be reversible. Those that fight their vampire nature often end up recluses, hiding away and resisting their hunger as long as they can. They do, however, inevitably feed. These traits often lead them to fall into what some call vampiric madness, a state of monstrous insanity that helps forge them into the crueler creatures they are by nature. Vampires that defy normal classification. Some undead stand unique from any of their brethren, the most terrifying being a woman known as Mother Non. Some believe her to be some aberrant form of vampire elder, the more supernatural secondary vampiric form that sometimes manifests. However, her abilities and temperament led Harold Oldrey Jr. to doubt this. He believed it was due to occult demonic practices during her life. Similar to another undead creature, the demonic Haxan witch. Regardless, she is greatly feared, able to feed from any who've seen her without even touching them. Donald Burns is another unique case. When taking his photo, he supposedly looked like an ordinary man. He was believed involved in active devil worship, a surprisingly rare practice among vampires. His picture developed in such a way anytime he was photographed, representing the darker stain on his soul. A different type of unique case would be Reggie the Bat, who transformed into a humanoid bat creature shortly after being turned, seemingly harkening back to the primeval origin of the vampiric curse, believed to have come from a cursed race of monstrous ogres, man-like proto-human beasts. For unknown reasons, this older version of the curse presented itself seemingly at random. Vampires can be beautiful, morbid, even monstrous. But the most harrowing subtype of all may be those called rotters. As seen here, a specimen known only as the Shark Woman. For obvious reasons, her appearance is the result of a fluke in the vampiric curse. It's been observed that vampires who seldom feed take on a death-like appearance, most commonly among recluse subtypes. But whereas these examples are not quite decomposition and revert upon feeding, rotters actually decompose like corpses, though they remain alive. This is sometimes temporary, but irreversible. The one called Wet Bones is a much more dramatic example, continuing to deteriorate for several years, making him appear almost like a ghoul, the inhuman mimics that imitate and feed off the dead. Yet Wet Bones, like all rotters, is a vampire like any other, merely imperfectly transitioned into undeath. Vampire Elders, the most vulgarly supernatural of all vampire subtypes, sharing similar exaggerated features. I've spoken of them at length before, something like a secondary metamorphosis of the vampire curse. They bear a striking resemblance to Count Orlok from the film Nosferatu. I believe designer Albin Grau based this appearance on a real elder, cementing the design in popular media for over 100 years. Here see a non-fully transformed elder referred to only as the Old Man. Or a more dramatically changed example witnesses described as the Berkeley Manor Demon. Seen by numerous people over many decades, he may actually be a haunter, a more ghost-like elder subtype that attaches to individuals, families, or congregations, such as the one attached to my own family line. Another possible elder is the frighteningly unique vampire called Mother Non, a horrific one-of-a-kind terror I'll discuss at further length in a future video. Vampire lords occupy the top tier of their kind's supernatural hierarchy, holding a psychic position of dominance over all other vampires in their domain. This transcendence would alter the vampire's physical appearance as well as their unnatural abilities, often making them uncannily tall or odd in some way. They lose the features of their previous subtype as the curse's priority shifts. A recluse, for example, sheds its death-like visage. Some believe the elder phenomena to be related to vampire lordship, elders being much older and a much rarer and more supernatural type of ascension that sit above all others, even local lords. In general, though, a local lord's word was law. They are masters of mental domination, both with humans and vampires, capable of outright mind control of their own, often wielding local regals as powerful spy networks. It is my belief that Alexandra, the vampire that hunts her own kind and has worked with multiple generations of my ancestors, has become a lord herself, greatly enhancing what she's capable of. These lords hold great sway over their local vampiric territories, but is there something greater above them that commands even the elders? Stay tuned to learn about the highest of all vampiric lords, Dmitri Vedeska, the Unmaker.